Ladies and gentlemen,
for Nikki.
We've got a lot of supporters for both fighters in the room right now. We're going to keep our support out in the crowd respectful and let these two guys throw down in the ring. Everyone agree with that? Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for our main event of the evening, 6 rounds of boxing for the vacant New England Light Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first, boxing out of the blue corner to my left, wearing white trunks with Valentine's Day themed hearts. His record, 7 wins, 5 defeats, 3 big wins by way of knockout. He's a battle-tested veteran who comes to us from nearby Swansea, Massachusetts. Ladies and gentlemen, the gentle savage, Tony Andreozzi. And his opponent, standing directly across the ring, fighting out of the red corner to my right, wearing black trunks with white lettering. His record, perfect. 5 wins, no defeats, 5 wins by way of knockout. He comes to us from Lawrence, Massachusetts. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Perez. 6th round New England Light Heavyweight Championship. Your referee, Ricky Gonzalez.
So here we go. It's the North Shore, the Merrimack Valley versus the South Coast.
Yep. And like you said, you got Ray Hebert in that corner, legendary Haverhill trainer, who I, fought against in my pro debut when he cornered for Josh Ranieri, rest in peace. Probably the funnest fight of my pro career. So, both these guys are incredibly coached up.
And you got, of course, Aaron Bernardo on the other side.
Of course, yeah. And, you got Aaron in here for the second or third one he's cornered after competing and winning his pro debut himself.
Andreozzi wearing the Valentine's Day themed trunks. Perez in the solid black.
Good left hand there by Tony. And Tony debuted at 147 in his professional debut. And he has just fought all over the scale as far as weights. Perez is coming off a knockout win against Bruno Saraiva, who you mentioned before, has famously thrown up more than once in the squared circle. And Tony's coming off a majority decision loss against James Perkins, who on paper looks like 5 different weight classes heavier than Tony, who's a Boston boxing mainstay earlier in his career with some vicious knockouts, and they went the distance, So you can't look at the weight classes that he's jumped and think that Tony's outmatched weight-wise, With that said, Perez does look like a big boy in there. He's got some big legs.
Andreozzi stuck in the corner. They'll clinch and break things up. Andreozzi a little while ago slipping in the middle of the ring, just on the far side where the blue meets the white ropes.
And it looks like they might, I don't know if they clashed heads. It's been, a lot of dirty boxing so far, but Tony might have a little cut.
He does, right
on the side of his right eye. It doesn't, actually, I was going to say it doesn't appear to be in his vision, but it might be a little bit. Boom!
And he catches.
And a big left hook.
Perez with a hook.
Followed up by a big straight right hand by Tony. And Tony's one of those guys, like you were talking about before, super unorthodox and switches stances the entire fight.
And we'll get a doctor timeout for the eye. Clock stops. About 20 seconds left in the round.
And you don't want to see something like this impact the fight.
.25 seconds left in this first round as we'll get ready to resume.
both guys at this point are cut. I do think it was most likely from an incidental headbutt, but now we have the other ringside physician checking out Perez quick.
Ray Hebert
and we got
standing
a long,
up,
we got a long way to go.
Immediately saying he's fine.
Yeah.
So here we go. Immediately back to action.
That was a low blow.
That was a low blow.
Very low blow. The 10-second clap. Tony's looking to finish the round strong. And I will say this, the way that first round went, that's going to be an exhausting, I don't know if I'd say pace, but the way they both, a lot of wrestling, a lot of grappling, a lot of dirty boxing, guys, ending up in headlocks, it's going to wear and wear on your legs and your body when, you're in that close quarters for the whole 3 minutes.
We'll see. So Perez's cut was right on the bridge of the nose, right between the eyes.
Right, and
whereas
it looks like
Andreozzi
Tony's is on the corner, that left eye out on the corner. I don't know if he has, if he was opened up a little under the eye too, or if that was just blood, kind of spilling over. But both corners are in there with Vaseline, and they're doing their best to clean those cuts up. Try to keep them at bay for as long as you can in a 6-round fight.
Andreozzi going wild over the top.
Yep. Connected with a good lead right hand there at the end of that combination.
Perez might have caught him with a counter jab in the middle of that.
And again, for a second there, Tony was orthodox, back to southpaw. Good body jab. Right hand connected. Good body work by Perez. And this is what I mean. This is grueling, tiring stuff. Just leaning on each other against the ropes. Looked like he might have caught an elbow there. Just
when you say dirty boxing, you mean dirty boxing.
Yeah, you're forehead to forehead. You're clinching. He's kind of got him in a Muay Thai plume there with his glove. As the ref just called out. That's where you're going to clash heads. You're going to catch elbows. We already saw one low blow. It's not the technical sweet science approach we saw in Gonzalez and Jackson. Little sneaky uppercut there by Tony. Perez tries to cut the angle. Tony sneaks in another little uppercut. And the thing is, with a pace like this, it's tiring, but you're so close to each other and all over each other. It's I don't know how likely it is where you're going to land those meaningful power shots that put somebody down. It's probably going to be the exhaustion that wears on you.
Perez going to work on the body.
Yep. And both guys are working. If I'm Tony, I want to try to spin off that rope or get out of there. I mean, I know he's comfortable against the ropes, but a lot of times you'll see judges score a fight on, this guy was pushing it or his back was against the rope, so you don't want to put yourself in a position like that. But a little more to the middle of the ring now. Awkward tie-up, ref breaks him. Tony jabs to the body. Good. Nice little 3-punch combination by Tony on the way in. Finished with the lead right uppercut there. Big right hand by Perez.
And Tony's hair has come
back
undone.
To the jab.
So
yeah, that hair's done.
And look
that
well
clap, and these guys, the end of every round here, these guys are gonna
just go to
these
war.
guys are just gonna throw, yeah. And you know, you have two close rounds, you know, both guys doing work in space when they're not engaged. It seems like, you know, Tony was a little quicker to the punch with a few of those combinations, but then you have parts of the round where Perez is able to back him against the ropes and keep him there. And, you know, he was trying to dig that body. Tough to tell when guys are all over each other like that, how much is getting through, what's getting caught on the elbows or the gloves. But, I mean, I can promise you one thing. These guys are going to be exhausted by the end of these 6 rounds if it goes the full 6.
So for the rest of the night, we'll see Andreozzi reaching up, trying to keep that hair out of his face. We'll see if that plays into anything here. Looks like they tied it back a little bit.
That is one thing that Perez doesn't have to worry about with his haircut. Tony talking a little bit to him. Nice little up jab. And Perez isn't really jabbing his way in. You know, he's kind of just stalking forward, and then on that last exchange, loading up that right hand. Good little short right hand by Tony. And now Tony's got him against the ropes. And if I'm Tony, I want to keep him there. You know, if you guys are going to be stuck, you know, spending a good portion of the fight wrestling, I'd rather be the guy pushing him against the ropes. Good little straight right by Perez. Tony responds with a lead left hand, left over the top. And there's Perez
nice
again going back to that body work. Yep, nice little short uppercut by Perez.
The wrestling ensues.
Yep, get that break. And then back to the middle of the ring. Good jab, followed by a good jab in return from Perez.
The good side is that it appears the blood has stopped for the most part on both these guys.
They did it. Both corners did a good job loading that up with Vaseline and stopping that bleeding for the time being. I mean, I'd wager they both open back up, given how much you know, head control fighting they're doing there, but.
Tony on the ropes again.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. I mean, you look at Andrew. Look at that kid's thighs. You know what I mean? That's a lot of lower body weight there, pushing you against the ropes.
Tony's more built from the waist up. Guys are both tanks. Absolutely.
Yeah. But again, like I said, Tony's fought as light as 147, so. You know,
and
this might
Tony's
be more
eyes
of
opened up. It's starting to turn purple.
Natural weight class for Perez.
.30 seconds left in round 3.
And if I'm Tony, you know, I want to, he's trying to get that underhook, but I'd like to spin him, or at least get off the ropes. Don't finish the round against the ropes. There we go. It's good exchange.
They immediately
that ended with a you know, a left uppercut from Tony in the southpaw stance. That was a clean, powerful punch. But you know, Perez did a pretty good job that round, keeping him on the back foot. Both guys were scoring from the ropes, but you know, a lot of judges are like, you know, in a fight like this, so close and a lot of, you know, dirty boxing, they like the guy that doesn't have his back against the ropes, you know. But then again, sometimes you never know what judges like, you know.
Pretty even through 3.
Yeah, even through 3. I mean, I'm sure that they're working on that cut for Tony And even though Andrew didn't open back up yet,
he knows it's there.
Yeah, and they're working it, And, through half the fight, Perez has proven that, even if he hasn't had the stiffest competition in front of him yet, he's game, and, he just hasn't had the opportunity. Because right now he's going toe-to-toe with Tony and doing everything in his power to try to be the aggressor.
Round 4 opens up with a couple of big haymakers, and the two wind up clinched against the ropes again. Someone's mouth guard, I think, just exploded.
Nice little three-piece combination by Tony. Good body shot by Perez. And this is where Tony wants to be. Tony wants to be on the outside of this exchange. Yeah.
Clinching got a little too close. There's still something.
Good body shot. Yeah,
there might be a little piece of tape.
I don't know what.
Part of it got swept off during that last exchange.
Yeah.
You hear the crowd come alive here on the South Coast.
I mean, both fighters are well represented, but you're fighting in Tony's backyard. You can hear that "Let's Go Tony" chant.
You've had this crowd behind you a couple of times before.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. Yes, I have. Yeah. Best feeling in the world. And this is what Tony wants to do, and it's where the conditioning is going to come into play. For the majority of this round, much like Perez did the last round, Tony's been able to keep him on the back foot and keep the dirty boxing where he's the aggressor, even though both guys are doing a lot of work.
Tony now looks like he's got a cut right on the side of his nose.
Yep,
towards his left eye.
Some good short uppercuts landed up top by Tony. Perez is still staying dedicated to that body work.
Tony landing a nice uppercut to the stomach of Perez.
Good body work there.
I'll tell you, there is nothing better than a hometown crowd at one of these club regional boxing
Good
shows.
shoe shine there by Tony, all on the belt line. If you're going to be on the ropes, be the more active guy. Man, such a close fight.
You can see exactly how gassed Tony is in that corner.
I told you, man, I don't think there's a more exhausting way to attack a fight than how these two guys have. They're just muscling each other around for 3-minute periods at a time. It's exhausting.
Great look at Perez getting some work done on his left eye. Great Ray Hebert, who has trained champion after champion after champion out of Haverhill downtown boxing. Here we go with round 5 of a scheduled 6.
Each guy there with some success. Perez landed a few nice stiff jabs on the way in on Tony. Looks like Aaron did a good job cleaning up that cut during the break between rounds.
And Perez just caught Tony with a big hook to the jaw.
Yep. Loading up on that right hand of the body there. Good body work, though, by Tony with his back on the ropes. ref's going to break him. You want to get right back to the middle of the ring here. Good counter there by Tony, and then looked like Perez connected on that end of that exchange with a right hand.
Perez working the body.
Yep.
Then an overhook to the head. Just trying to touch that left eye as much as he can.
Yep, and there you go. That's. I know Aaron's been yelling for that. That's what you want. You want Tony to turn him when his back's against the ropes like that and flip-flop the position. Because the way this is going, it's almost like whoever has their back against the ropes for longer in the round is probably going to lose the round, because both these guys are searching for underhooks and digging body shots. It's a close fight. Good left hook by Tony there. Right hook.
The crowd
calling him on. Good body shot. And this is where you have to make it count. When you have those moments where you got them, they're back to the ropes, you got to get your scoring punches.
Good work, yeah. Head down.
Some good work there by Perez, put a couple nice combinations together. And it's, you usually don't really see hand fighting with boxing gloves on, but it's kind of what's going on here. These guys are trying to find any way to free their hand to try to score.
Less than 10 to go in round 5.
And this is how you want to finish the round, But Perez had some fair amount of success in that one, too. Don't even ask me to score this one, Mad Dog.
That's why we employ 3 judges sitting ringside.
And I think these guys making their job pretty hard in this last one.
Well, before we enter the final round of the evening, I want to thank all of the folks that make a production like this possible. First and foremost, the guy who makes us sound good by providing all of his back-end knowledge.
Ray Johnson.
Box Rec Ray. Ray Johnson.
Of course.
I say this every time. Hopefully the next time he's actually here with us, so
of course
he can read his own game notes and take credit for his own hard work. Of course, the great Peter Zimbor, president of Boston Boxing Promotions, and Nick DeSalvo. Our phenomenal camera crew, Landon Dallaire and Mike the Postman Simmons, bringing the sights and sound from the Bernardo Event Center, the newly christened Bernardo Event Center.
Yes.
Here in downtown Fall River, as professional
Aaron,
boxing
christened
enjoys
it with
a
his
renaissance
professional
here.
debut and stoppage tonight.
1-0, and as a quarterman, he's got a pretty good record tonight too.
Yep. 6th and final round.
2 touch gloves, and the 6th and final is underway. And if I'm a betting man, I expect this to be like the last 10 seconds of the previous 5 rounds, the whole round through.
I'd love to see one round of these guys boxing in space, but I don't think it's happening. I think it's just going to be like we've seen the first 5, just head to head. Definitely less clinching so far up until that moment. Guys are letting their hands go.
Both guys
are exchanging body shots there.
Andreozzi taking a big uppercut.
And that's just a big man on you, putting all his weight on you. It's exhausting.
Squeezing the oxygen
Yeah.
on one side, the ropes on the other.
You know, credit to Andrew's conditioning too, because Perez hasn't, he's attacked this 6th round just like he did the first 5. Definitely went in there in shape tonight.
Halfway through the 6th and final. Let's go,
And
Tony, the champ.
this is
from
where
the
Tony
South
wants to
Coast
get his
Facebook.
points in the round. When you have him against the ropes. Just so few moments between clinches. There's never really a ton of time to work. Perez doing a good job to kind of try to cut an angle and spin and flip the position, and he successfully just did it there.
A break as we hit less than a minute. At some point in the next 45 seconds, I'm going to ask you how you score this fight. Good over the top by Tony. Perez gets Tony in his own corner.
And I mean, to his credit, the ref has just let them fight.
He's letting them scrap.
Yeah. There's no breaking. That's the 10-second clap. What are you doing? Oh, I was just giving him credit.
And now
and then
he ruined it.
You broke it. But what a fight. Zero idea what's going on in the judges' heads as far as who they liked more and which style they found to be the winning formula. In Tony fashion, he rips his own gloves off without being untied. And credit to both guys. I can't imagine either guy has had a more exhausting 6 rounds in their lives.
So we've got Tony Andreozzi and Andrew Perez for the vacant New England light heavyweight title. You can see Aaron Bernardo, the owner of this building that we're in right now, standing on the ring that he built and won his professional debut in earlier tonight. He looks ready for another couple of bouts.
Oh, yeah. No, I got to give it up to Perez, man. I wasn't sure, he hadn't been pushed, he hadn't had to dig deep, he hadn't been in deep waters with some of the guys that were in front of him, at least from what I've seen in his pro career, but they don't get much deeper than that, and he definitely answered the call and did everything he could to impose his will, as did Tony. Again, I could see a judge going 4-2 either way. Could see a draw. No idea what Peter's about to announce right now. Let's see.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've had multiple candidates for Fight of the Year tonight, and it's only February. How about a round of applause for both of these warriors? We go to the judges' scorecards. Judge Joe Appice scores the fight 59-57, Andreozzi. Judges Eddie Scunzio and Steve Weisfeld scored this fight 57-57. This fight is ruled a majority draw.
Wow.
Folks, how about a round of applause for both fighters?
Well, Kyle Cusick. Speechless.
No, I mean, I thought, one could see it 4-2 one way, one could see it 4-2 the other way. You could see a draw, and we saw one judge with the winning card for Tony, and the other two with a draw. And again, it seemed like from the first minute of that fight till the very end of it, it was going to be tough to score. Just two guys trying to impose their will on each other, and man, I'm exhausted. My back hurts just watching the way they fought all 18 minutes of that bout. But props to both of them. And if I know Peter, he's probably telling him we should run it back for another 6.
Absolutely. So the red corner technically goes undefeated with the 2 draws.
Yep.
Kentrell Everett, a successful pro debut, as had Aaron Bernardo. Terrell Bostic, Juan Carlos Pena, the early pick, the early benchmark for Fight of the Year.
That one's going to be tough to knock off the throne for sure.
Courtney Chase, Sarah Click fighting to a split decision draw.
Yep, but for me, a successful pro debut. She looked great in there. Looked like she was having fun. I thought she edged it, but a draw is better than flying home with an L in your pocket. I think that's another good one. He's got a few tonight that I don't think anyone would hate if he looked to run it back.
Alex Nineveh defeating James Lawson in a 4-rounder. Jackson Blanco and Dejan Gonzalez, another phenomenal fight that went the distance. Jackson Blanco with the win there. Forrest Morgan, a definitive victory over Igor Santos. Tigran Simonian defeating Jay Gregory in his pro debut. And of course, Mario Christopher Ramirez did not take long to dispatch David Rodriguez. And our main event went to a majority draw. Andrew Perez and Tony Andreozzi. I want to thank you all for watching. I want to thank once again all the folks who made a production like this possible. Of course, our cameraman Landon Dallaire and Mike the Postman Simmons. My broadcast partner couldn't have sounded like I know what boxing is without you, my friend. Kyle Cusick.
Had a blast with you, brother.
Commentating once again on a BBP card in his hometown.
Yes, let's do it again, Pete.
On behalf of everyone, top to bottom here at Boston Boxing Promotions and Combat Sports Now, I'm Mad Dog Matt Nelson. We'll see you in a few months.